when it pays to shop name brand on this episode of Heavy Metal Money. Hey, I've spoken many times about how shopping generic can save you money. And in most cases, buying that generic product or that generic part works just fine. But I also mentioned that there are times when you shop a name brand, you get a higher quality product. You can get longevity or durability out of the product. Perhaps that product or part will just be more effective. And this is a perfect example of when to shop name brand. And this was when I had to replace a faucet cartridge assembly for my Delta faucet in my downstairs shower. And absolutely, this is such a crazy story. So first, before we dive in, know that I am in no way a plumber, and if there was any sort of complex plumbing problem or repair, absolutely hire a certified contractor to get that job done correctly and up to code. But I'm definitely a DIY kind of guy. If I can attempt or learn to do those type of smaller repairs on my own, I absolutely will attempt to do that. So what I had to do is I had to replace a leaky shower faucet cartridge. So it was simple enough. The shower cartridge is this little assembly that goes inside the faucet where you would actually turn on the water. And mine was leaking. So time to replace that shower cartridge. I went to a local hardware store. In this case, I just went to Menards here in my local area, and I had two options. So I had the name brand Delta faucet cartridge assembly for just over $50. Then I had a third-party generic cartridge assembly stating that it would be the replacement part for my model number, and it was, nearly half the cost, right? So I thought to myself, why not? Let's save a little bit of money and buy this generic part. While the package did say it would fit, I also held up my old cartridge to the new one. It looked basically the equivalent size, shape, everything about it. And heck, if I'm going to save $25, let's go ahead and buy the generic one. So I continued to install the cartridge in my faucet. It, for the most part, went smooth. I just struggled a little bit to get it where it was to be installed. And once I got it in there, I tested it. It works. I just needed to adjust the hot and cold water mix that you can do right on the cartridge. And then I chalked it up as, this appeared to work okay. So I put all my tools away, and this was another home improvement fix-it project that was done, right? Went in the books. No, it was not done. Oh my gosh. This was kind of a nightmare. So shortly after the project was done, I noticed some noise coming from the pipes. Now this noise sounded similar to what is referred to as water hammer. So if those of you don't know, water hammer is this phenomenon commonly occurs when a water valve closes suddenly at the end of the water pipe system and the pressure wave propagates in the pipe. So think of like when you open up a faucet, water's running full pressure, then you shut the water off abruptly, you hear this water hammer, and that's like the pipes shaking. And if it's in the interior construction of the home, you hear that pipe moving, and it kind of like hits the wall construction, like the 2x4s are going through like floors and ceilings and through the walls and stuff like that. So this is what's referred to as water hammer. And it kind of sounded like that. And I thought, okay, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I screwed up the installation somehow. Maybe something came loose when I had disassembled the shower faucet, to get into to the area where the shower was. I double checked the installation, and everything appeared to be fine. There was no problem at all. And this water hammer noise continued periodically throughout the course of the next few weeks, believe it or not. And now during this time, I continued to look for where pipes were loose, right? I tried tracking the pipes down. I tried looking in our utility room. I tried looking up above where the shower is. Like, I actually removed the exhaust fan in the bathroom and like shoved my head up there and tried to look. I couldn't find any sort of movement at all in the pipes. So I couldn't figure out where the noise was coming from, and it was absolutely driving me crazy. Now, during that time, I had others check with me. I had my uncle stop by. I had a friend of mine that when they were here, I'm like, can you listen to what I'm talking about? And we really tried to track down the source of where this noise was coming from. And during this time, I also called a recommended plumber, and I explained to the plumber over the phone. I'm like, this is what I'm experiencing. This is what I'm trying to locate where the noise is coming from. And the plumber said, and I quote, "I'll do the same thing that you're doing, and then I'll start knocking holes in the walls and ceilings looking for loose pipes." What? No, don't start knocking holes in my walls looking for loose pipes. There's got to be a way to do this less destructively, right? So another week goes by. I call another plumber, and this plumber comes to my home. We both spend about 30 minutes running water in the faucet, listening, feeling pipes. We went upstairs, downstairs, the utility room. And then in the end, the plumber said, the noise does sound a little different than a typical water hammer. And so he said, maybe there's something loose in the faucet cartridge that I installed that maybe is allowing water to travel through the cartridge when it's otherwise closed. But otherwise, we narrowed it down to where the pipes were knocking in that bathroom. And he recommended that go ahead and replace the cartridge. And if the problem still persists, he recommended cutting a hole in the ceiling in the downstairs bathroom to investigate properly of like where the pipes are banging or where that noise is coming from. I mean, the plumber was great. He, was here for, a half hour, didn't even charge me for the visit. He told me what he'd do, right? Like, I'd replace the cartridge. I'm comfortable doing it. I've already done it once. He said, if I asked him if I could pay him for his time, he's like, no, don't worry about it. He said, I could absolutely pay him $260 to replace the cartridge or just do it myself. I'll save the $260 and just do that same, again, simple repair. It takes just about a few minutes. So this time I head to the store. I purchased a new faucet cartridge. This time I opt for the name brand, right? The more expensive model. And obviously where the story is ending up, right? Upon installing this new one, which, believe it or not, just installing it fit like a glove. Like, I could tell just installing it was different. It was meant for this model faucet. It was easier to install. The overall fit was just perfect. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I really do feel as though this is what the problem was. So here it is. It's installed. I turn on the water and test. Any water hammer noise is gone. There's no shaking of the pipes. Eureka. I know that this was absolutely a long post and a long story to help illustrate that sometimes it is absolutely the best path to use genuine, authentic name brand parts when you're going to be replacing or repairing something. So I really appreciate everyone following along. I'd love to know your shopping generic versus name brand stories. Please leave a comment below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on Heavy Metal Money.